Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I'm joined today by Dr. Kelvin Mah. Calvin is an old friend of mine, an old client of mine, and I wanted to get him on the channel today because not only is he a doctor, dentist, he is a business-minded person. Calvin, welcome.
Hi, Nick. How are you doing?
Good, sir. So before we start, why don't we tell everyone who you are and what you do for a living?
Sure. As you introduced me, my name is Kelvin Mah. I'm a dentist. I've been practicing, scary, it's almost 30 years now since I've been practicing. I have a practice here in Vancouver at City Square, and it's called Smile City Square. And yeah, I absolutely love what I do. Everybody thinks dentists have a high suicide rate. I don't know. I'm a pretty happy guy, and I absolutely love it.
Why is that? Why do people think that?
I think they think it's a stressful business because the perception is, oh, you're always doing something that people don't want to have done.
Right.
But I think that's just a perception. And yeah, as I said, and I'll talk to you about that later on. I love what I do.
Yeah. Well, what made you decide to get into dentistry?
Well, first off, I graduated from UBC a long time ago, back in 1985.
Okay.
That was probably even before you were born, Nick.
That was actually right when I was born.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
You feel really, really good. So I graduated in 85, and I graduated with a degree in microbiology,
Okay.
which is actually pretty pertinent,
Yeah.
given where we are in today's times. But after I graduated, I was working in a laboratory for a while, and I loved what I did. But after about 4 years of working in it, I became very disconnected with what I was doing, which I found interesting because the work I thought was kind of interesting, but I didn't have the passion for it. And I was going, that's really interesting. What's going on? So I had to mentally step away from it and think about my situation. And I learned a very, very valuable lesson at that point. And I learned that for me, I needed to interact more with people and not just things. So that was a valuable lesson for me, just to know who I was. So I said, okay, you need to interact more with people. Let's go back to school. I was young enough, and I went back. I pursued dentistry, and I finished that in 1992. So coming up to 30 years, 28 years now. And I can honestly say it's the best possible thing for me. I absolutely love what I do.
Well,
However,
yeah.
That wasn't always the case.
No.
So 4 years after I started practicing dentistry, I became disenchanted and disconnected once again with what I was doing. And except this time I was really worried because I had invested a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money. I had a lot of debt.
Yeah.
For me to walk away from the profession after 4 years, that didn't sit really well with me at all.
No.
So again, what I'm finding I do when I hit situations like that is I mentally step back, look at it from a bigger view. And I learned another valuable lesson. And that was, I had made a mistake back then. The mistake I had made was really defining who I was by essentially a job description. And I think a lot of people make this mistake. So my job description was, well, UBC gave me a specialized skill set to fix and treat teeth. So as a dentist, I fix teeth. And that's what I thought I did. I became very good at it. I continued taking a lot of programs and a lot of courses after I graduated. I became very good at fixing teeth. Well, why wasn't I happy? Because the thing is, that's not what I'm really doing.
Okay.
That's a skill set I have.
Right.
But what I was really doing was not treating teeth. I was treating people.
Okay.
And when I realized I was actually treating people, everything changed. I looked at what I did, the perception of what I did was completely different. And therefore, the delivery of my business to my customers or my clients completely changed because I saw them as people now, not just a set of teeth. And I think every business needs to think about things that way. Think about your end receiver of your goods or your services and think about them as a human being and think about what they really are looking for from your business. And I mean, just that concept alone will help you differentiate yourself in so many different ways. But, essentially that's how I ended up in dentistry.
Was it challenging going back to school again?
I had to think about that because the thought of the program dentistry is another 4 years. And plus I had to do another additional year just to make up specific credits so I could apply. So for me, it was a 5-year, additional 5 years of university. I was already working, earning income. To leave that, it wasn't, on the surface, it looked like a very hard decision to make,
Right.
right? Because,
Yeah.
you know, to go from making income to essentially zero income, accumulating debt again, and then 5 hard years of really intense school. But, you know, when you really started scratching below the surface, this is what I learned. This is what I realized. I realized, what is 5 years out of your life? I
Yeah.
mean, you know what? I'm not minimalizing it, but at the end of the day, if you have a career that spans 40 years and it takes you 5 years of investment to give you something that you really, really want, that's nothing.
No.
Because even if I was still working for this company in this laboratory, I have to ask myself, where would I have been in that company in 5 years?
Yeah.
Assuming I was even with the same company in
Right.
5 years, probably not. So I
Right.
would have kept starting over and over and over and really not getting that much further ahead. Whereas going back, it allowed me a lot more autonomy. I could, you know, call my own shots. I could run my own business. So when I thought about it and I realized the reality of what I was in doing, um, there was no hesitation.
Do you think most people are just, they're scared and they don't want to take that move? They're stuck in a career they hate and they're like, you know what? It's safe
Absolutely.
though. Yeah.
Absolutely. People rather be unhappy but safe
Yeah.
than taking a risk for happiness. They'd rather be really unhappy working, living in this little box because they know it's predictable. Yeah, you know, next year, 5 years from now, yeah, I'm probably not gonna be all that happy, but you know, it's too scary for me to think outside of that box.
Right.
But
Right.
as you know, because I know you're very successful at your business. I've seen your business grow,
Thank
and
you.
I've seen the passion that you put into it and the innovation you put into it. All the good stuff is just outside. You got to
Yeah.
take a little bit of risk. You don't have to take a ton of risk.
Right.
You just need to take enough risk to get you out of the comfort zone.
Take me back to when you first opened your practice. When you got out of school, did you open your own practice or did you work for someone first?
I worked for someone. I worked for
Okay.
someone for about 7 years
Okay.
first. And it was really great because I learned two things. I learned, you know, how I wanted to practice. I learned what I wanted to do, the type of stuff I wanted to do. But just as importantly, if not more importantly, I learned what I didn't want my business to be. And that's something that is really important to know as well, right? Everyone says, well, I want this, I want this. Well, sometimes it's important to know what you don't want. That also helps you refine your vision, right?
Right. Right. Yeah, because you cater towards a certain client. Like you offer a specific service. You're not just your average dentist. I mean, I've been to your office. Your office does not look like the average dentist's office. I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's so modernized. What made you decide to go and cater towards a specific client, and what type of services are you offering?
sure. Um, you know, at the end of the day, it almost comes from a selfish place in
Yeah.
that when I was working for someone else and I looked at my schedule as it unfolded every day, and I'd go, oh man, this is going to be a day that I'm not going to be that happy with because I'm saying I got to do this.
Right.
And then on another day, I'm going, oh, this is going to be an amazing day because
Yeah.
I see I'm going to be doing this, and this.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
I realized, well, why don't I just fill my day doing the things I absolutely love to do
Mhm.
and don't do the things I don't like to do? Then
Okay.
pretty soon, every day is a great day. It's really basic.
So give me an idea though in dentistry. What's something that you don't like to do that you got rid of?
Sure. So although I'm a general dentist,
Yeah.
right? I can do all procedures that are available in dentistry. However, I've decided to really, let's get this right, restrict and refine what I do. So
Okay.
my main focus is really on aesthetic dentistry.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Right.
And I do that for very specific reasons. But that's what I love, and that's what I become very good at because that's what I do all the time.
Was that difficult though? Because I mean, I'm sure when you first started off, you were just trying to get every client you could in the door. And then when you started to say, okay, I only want to do this and do that, you probably had to let some people go.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't happen overnight. It was an evolution. It took a little while for things to refine themselves. But you know, if you have a focus and an intention, then you can kind of maintain that focus, and eventually your practice or your business evolves to fulfill that mission.
Right.
And you know, it goes back to deriving a mission, which I'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, I just found I love what I did, what I do. I started getting a reputation for what I do, and you know, people started finding me.
Okay. I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong here, I think it was 2008 or 2009 when you relocated to City Square on Cambie Street. Was it
Yeah,
2000?
yeah, about 2000. Yeah, about 2009, almost 10 years, just
And
over 10 years ago.
yeah, and I remember all the renovations that you were putting into this
Right,
office.
right.
And I know it was a bit of a headache. But I mean, when I saw the office, I was amazed because I mean, most people who've been to a dentist's office, it's just like, white walls and it's a scary place to go. Your
Yeah,
place though is like, and I mentioned this earlier, it's so modern, clean. It just looks like, it's almost like you're going into not a nightclub, but it's just like a very modern, like safe area to go. You feel good when you're in
right.
there.
Yeah,
Did you design that yourself, or did you have anyone helping you, an interior designer? How did that work?
sure. So the space I'm in, it's very interesting. The part of City Square that I'm in is considered heritage. The part I'm in used to be the auditorium of a school that was built in 1905.
Okay.
So it's a very old space. I mean, the background that you see here, this is my reception area,
Yeah.
waiting area.
Yeah.
My ceiling height is almost 40 feet.
Right.
It's a huge
Yeah.
space,
Yeah.
height wise. And what I love about it is when you walk in, I didn't want a place to feel like a dental office because that wasn't what I'm offering. I'm offering to really, you know, fulfill my mission, not to fix teeth.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not here to fix teeth. So, you know, so that had to be reflected in my office. So I had a certain idea of what emotionally I wanted the office to say about me and the work I did. So I had to find a designer
Okay.
who could understand what I wanted,
Right.
because that's what the designer or an architect does. They
Sure.
take what's in my mind
Yeah.
and translate that to two-dimensional drawings so that someone could read those drawings and actually build it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool. I mean, I guess like you said, you're trying to cater towards a certain clientele base now, and it's just really interesting because I've never seen your typical dentist office does not look like yours, and it's just amazing what you've done.
Yeah. I didn't want anything clinical. I
Yeah.
didn't want hard, shiny glass, chrome, white surfaces. The two buzzwords I kept using over and over with my designer was I wanted something very contemporary, right? I didn't want to look dated. I wanted contemporary, but I wanted something to look very, very organic.
Yeah.
So there's lots of wood, lots of texture, lots of, you know, warm colors. You can see it in the background.
Yeah.
The surfaces. I wanted someone to walk into my office and just exhale and feel relaxed, which is typically not how someone feels when they walk into a dental
No,
office.
not at all. No, not at all. Kevin, I want to ask you a question about clientele or retention. I've known you for well over 10 years.
Yep.
And, if you go on, I mean, all it takes is a simple Google search, Google your name, Google your company, and you've got all these amazing reviews. Like everyone who sees you seems to like have this like great review, which is rare. You got testimonials. I mean, how have you been able to become so successful in such a competitive industry with cosmetic dentistry?
That's a great question. And I think to be successful in any industry, in any business, I think the first thing one needs to do as an owner, CEO, is to really identify your purpose or your why, or your, the buzzword is mission. What is the mission of your business? Sorry.
No, it's good.
Identify that first. And my mission is very simple. It's simply enriching lives one smile at a time.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that, well, people don't care what I know until they know that I care,
Right.
right? So when I say enriching lives one smile at a time, I'm really trying to enrich my patients, my customers' lives. I'm not just treating their teeth. I really go beyond that, and I see them for who they are, and I really want to help them just become better versions of themselves.
Right.
When I say one smile at a time, it means that I recognize that everybody's different. Everyone's an individual. And so I deliver my services in a very highly personalized manner. I want a very personal experience that
Yeah.
people have when they come see me. So that mission, enriching lives one smile at a time, is at the forefront of every single decision that myself and my team make. Our behavior in our office is governed by that mission. If I reach a fork in the road and I can't decide which way do I go, when I try to make a business decision, it becomes very simple. I just ask myself, what path best honors my mission? And I think a commitment to that mission will lead to success because it leads to an authenticity. And everyone's BS meter is on high alert. They know when a business says a bunch of things, but
Yeah. They
they
don't mean it.
talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk.
Right.
If you are constantly structuring your behavior to honor the mission that you've set for yourself and your office, there's so much authenticity, which is so rare nowadays. Automatically, you're differentiating yourself because you're providing an authentic experience for
Yeah.
people. It's already rare.
Yeah. And one thing you were telling me off camera before we started the talk today, you were saying to me, your business doesn't define who you are, but
Yeah.
if you love what you do, you're going to be successful as long as you put forward the work, put forward the effort and the time that it takes to grow that business.
Yeah.
That's why I've always liked talking to you about businesses, because every time I talk to you, I get so motivated because you always got these great ideas and it's all very authentic. It's not phony. It's not like, oh, let's try doing this sale or that. And one thing I'll always remember, you said this to me back in the day, and I'll never forget this. There was a company, I don't know if they're still around today, called Groupon. Do you remember Groupon?
Yes.
And at the time I was saying to you, I was very young in the business industry, in the personal training industry. And Groupon was on me about, offering free training sessions or discounted training sessions. And you said to me, you said, Nick, why would you discount your service? You're discounting your own yourself when you do that. You're putting a price on yourself and saying, I'm only worth this much right now. And I thought about that and I said, it made perfect sense to me. Have you ever thought, well, if business is slow, maybe I should start devaluing my services or devaluing my prices? I mean, have you ever been tempted to slash prices?
No. And the Groupon experience, I forgot I talked to you about that many, many years ago. It is such a great lesson for anybody. And can I expand on that Groupon?
Yeah, of course.
So what had happened with me, Groupon approached me and said, Dr. Mah, if you want to become part of the Groupon family in this particular area, you will have an exclusive to this specific district or area. I said, oh, that's interesting. What do you want me to do? Oh, you can do something like give away whitening. Everyone's giving away a whitening bleaching kit.
Right.
I said, give it away. And they said, yeah. And I said, to anyone. Yeah, like the first 50 customers or something like that. And I said, I thought about it and then I realized something. I'm thinking, why would I want to do that? Because there are two reasons. Number one, if I gave that away to anybody, what does that say to my long-term patients?
Right.
Like who may have paid for it 6 months ago, and then all of a sudden they see an ad that he's giving away to anyone who walks in.
Yeah.
It diminishes the relationship that I have with my very best clients. If I'm going to give it away to anybody, I'm going to give it to my long-term clients.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I give free stuff away and my services to the people who have helped me in my business. I'm not going to give it to someone who's shopping for something free, because once that free thing's gone, they're moving on to the next person.
They're looking for the next best deal. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I'm very happy that you never pursued it.
No, and I learned that from you. So for anyone listening who's like, why doesn't Nick offer discounts or free sessions or that? It's all because of Calvin. Because at the time I was a young trainer and I was trying to break into the industry. And I thought, I have to offer free sessions. I have to offer discounted rates. And you were the one who said to me, you're like, no, you're good at what you do. Stay true to what you believe in.
Yep.
Charge a reasonable rate. I mean, don't be crazy, but at the
Yep.
same time, as soon as you start slashing your rates, you're devaluing your service. And I agree with you. If anyone's going to get a reduced rate, it's going to be clients who've been with me from the very beginning, who supported me, not the person who's coming to me shopping around, like you said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because here's another really important lesson I learned in business. There are two ways of um, structuring, I guess, a relationship with a customer, right? There are two types of transactions, you can call it. One is a transactional type of business, meaning I'm going to give a discount or I'm going to give a deal because I just want someone in through the door and I can close that transaction and I've made a deal or close this deal. But that's transactional. In other words, the whole focus is on closing that single transaction. But that person may never come back, right? And every business knows that the cost of acquisition, the cost of acquiring customers, that's really expensive.
It
The
is.
cost of maintaining customers is much, much less.
Yeah.
So I'm really focused on not a transactional business model, but more of an experiential business model. I want to create an experience so that I can initiate and nurture a relationship with you.
Sure.
Because not only do I feel, as a customer, I'm going to be able to provide better service over time for you, and you can always depend on me. But as a business, if I have you for life, you're going to be giving me business for life.
And you're going to give business because they're going to refer their friends and their family members to you.
Absolutely.
And that's another thing I learned from you is that is your best form of marketing is word of mouth.
Exactly. I don't external market, it's word of mouth. Internal marketing is always the best. As people will ask, who do you go for? You can advertise all you want, but at the end of the day, the best thing for you is you're looking for a trainer. Oh, I got to tell you something. I know this trainer. I've been working out with him. He's been helping me. Oh, who is this guy? Well, his name's Nick Cosgrove. Just give him a buzz. Talk to him. See what you think. I mean, that's the best recommendation.
Yeah.
You don't go through all these different review sites, half of which or more are fake nowadays.
They are, yes. Everyone's
Right?
got fake followers too.
So that's why I don't ask my patients to review. If they want to review me, I'm so grateful and I love that. But I never say, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you blah, 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 blah. I want to be, listed as number one in Kitsilano or whatever. I don't know.
I get it. Yeah. It's funny you say that because in my industry, I have a lot of people that say to me, hey, how come you don't videotape your clients working out with you on your iPhone? And I say, well, I respect my clients' privacy. And my clients are paying me good money for that hour that I'm with them. Why would I be using them while their time that they're paying me for to advertise my services? I think it's a slap in the face to clients. I really do.
Yeah. That's why I always respected you and how you conduct your business. I mean, when you first started out, you're a very, very young man. You're pretty young.
Yeah.
And, I always thought, man, this guy's pretty young and he's got his head on right. You didn't party at all. You didn't party every weekend.
No.
And stagger in on a Monday to your business trying to make it work like a lot of trainers that I know.
Yes, most.
And so, I thought, this guy's mature. This guy has integrity. You don't try to pull the wool over someone's eyes, and you don't give BS advice. You don't give what's trendy.
No.
So there's a lot of authenticity with what you do, and I really respect that from you.
Thank you. I was saying this to Robin actually on the channel the other day. I wish, looking back now, it would have probably been smart of me to take a few business courses because there was a lot of things I learned the hard way. But luckily I had clients like you who actually were there to actually, give me advice along the way. And it saved me a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And those could have been mistakes, very costly mistakes. And that's why I give you credit for the Groupon, because that right there was all you. And to that day, I never forget that conversation.
That's awesome. And you know what? Business courses are great, right? But I got to tell you, there's nothing like learning.
No.
Like,
yeah.
Learning is really an experiential thing. You don't learn things from books. You learn things by taking perhaps what you learned from a book, but applying it
Yeah.
and making mistakes. Hopefully not catastrophic mistakes,
Yeah.
but you make mistakes, and mistakes are great. I go, a mistake, oh well, you know what can I learn from it? They're all learning experiences, right? And you keep
Well,
evolving and refining and staying alert and refining what you're doing so that your business and your life, because we talked before we started, I said, business is only, a part of your life. It's
yeah.
not your life,
No.
nor should it be, you know? And the business should really be an accurate reflection of your personal life.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be something completely different, because you don't want to have to wear a different hat, play a different role when you're in your business. How nice is it when you can just move really fluidly between your personal life and your business to personal life, without having to pretend? That goes back to what I said about authenticity. People's BS meters are on high alert. They just know when people are trying to
They do.
fit.
Yeah, they totally do. One thing too I wanted to talk to you about was with your work-life balance. I mean, you have a very healthy work-life balance. When I first met you, I think you were working Monday through Thursdays and every second Saturday, and that eventually went to taking Friday, Saturday, Sunday off completely, and I think working one Saturday a month. Are you
Yeah.
still on that schedule?
Yeah, I essentially do a one Monday to Thursday. I do one. I got rid of the Saturday, and I do one Friday a month.
Okay.
For me, if you want to be sustainable, in terms of work-life balance, if, as I said, work is only a part of my life,
Yeah.
right? I've got a family. I've got a young son. We love doing things together. We love travel. All these things that really make up who I am, my personal life, and I want work to fit into my personal life, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Right. And also, I knew if I did nothing but work, I would eventually burn out and
Sure.
I wouldn't be sustained. I might be able to work at a really high pace for maybe 15 years, but I wouldn't be at it. Right now, it's close, as I said, close to 30 years, and I still love what I do. I don't feel burnt out at all.
Yeah.
I'm still excited by my business, and I think part of it is because you pace yourself.
Right.
It's a marathon, right? It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
It's a marathon.
That's one thing I haven't really learned from you yet. So I'm still stuck doing 7 days a week.
Yeah,
So,
you're young.
and I think that's something you told me from day one. You're going to have to learn to take a day off. So I'm still working on it.
And you know what? Your business survived. And
Yeah.
that's a fear too.
Yeah.
You're afraid, oh my God, if I take a day off, how will my business suffer? Um, You'd be surprised. Sometimes your business prospers
Right.
because when you take a day off, as you said earlier, you get a chance to really think on your business and not just
In your
work,
business.
yeah,
Yeah.
not work in it, but work on it. You can kind of take liberty to kind of just think more globally about your business when you're not in it, you know, running the day to day. Sometimes you just want to, as an experiment, just kind of think, oh, what if I did this with my business? And you have to do that on a day off. You can't really do that when you're working, training.
No, you can't. And, since COVID-19, we both had quite a few days off. So
Beautiful.
I wanted to ask you, what have you been doing now that, we've been off? Most places I know we've been shut down in Vancouver since around March 14th, March 16th. When did you
Right.
close down?
Yeah, 16th.
Okay, you did.
So it's been, 2.5 months.
Yeah.
It'll probably be 3 months total before I open in June.
Okay.
What have I been doing? I've been spending so much time with family, strengthen the relationship I've had with my wife and my son. And so it's been wonderful from that aspect. It's also been, I think of it this way. When I think about nature doesn't have just continuous growth. Growth occurs. Hey, I can use this analogy like training.
Yeah.
Growth occurs after you rest.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't keep just working on growth. You rest a little bit, you grow, you rest, you grow.
Yeah.
In nature, we have seasons, right? Spring, summer, growth, fall, winter, rest. We have Some animals hibernate, you know, some animals go into the state and then they come out, they metamorphosize to a beautiful butterfly from a
Yeah.
caterpillar.
Yeah.
But so I looked at this time away from my business as almost hibernation.
Okay.
It allowed me to really start thinking about my business, you know, without working in it. I was working on it. I just
Okay.
really just thought about my business, what I wanted it to say. Was it still reflective of who I am? Did I need to refine anything? It gave me the liberty to do so because, you know, when you're in it, you don't have the time.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think of this time as, you know, necessary. It was a forced rest period. It was a forced hibernation. And I'm going to come out even more exuberant with even more energy and more excitement, you know? So I don't see it as a negative.
Right. You've been using this time to your advantage. Now,
Absolutely.
you mentioned that you probably won't open your doors until about June 15th. I think
Yeah,
dentistry is
maybe
part of
early
the,
June.
yeah, and I think dentistry is part of the phase two plan, which we're currently in. Why have you decided to prolong your opening?
Sure. Number one, I mean, there's some technological renovations. There's some technologies I'm introducing to the office that needs to
Oh,
be
cool.
installed. Um, but more importantly, why? Let me rephrase that question you just asked me. Instead of why wouldn't you open up, maybe why should I open up? You know, what do I gain by delaying my opening?
Yeah.
You know, what do I lose by opening? What do I lose? I don't know, 2 weeks of revenue, 3 weeks of revenue. I mean, it's already been 2 months. It's not going to make or break as long as you have a solid business. Um, but more importantly, what I gain is I can see the results of other businesses in my industry having been open for 2 weeks. I can learn by what's been working and more importantly, what's not been working.
I see.
So, you know, I'm not passing judgment and I'm not criticizing anyone to open. Everyone is different. Everyone is in a different financial place. But for me personally, I was in no rush to open because I wanted to be sure. I wanted to be completely ready. I wanted my team trained up.
Yeah.
I wanted, this is importantly, I wanted my team to feel comfortable and safe coming back to work. I
Sure.
didn't want to feel that they were forced to come back because the owner said, you know, the dentist said I had to work.
Yeah.
That goes against my whole mission of enriching people's lives. And
Right.
my mission goes for my team as well. I'm trying every day, I'm trying to enrich their lives and forcing them into a situation they don't want to be in. Not only is it unethical for me, but I just think it's bad business
Sure.
because they're your ambassador.
Yeah.
If they're, you know, if one of my clients asks one of my team members, what do you think about coming back to work? Do you feel safe? And they hum and haw. Well, you know, that's what Dr. Mah wanted me to do.
Yeah.
I think that's business.
I agree. I agree. I think one thing I do think with COVID-19 is exposing a lot of businesses that were doing poorly before this. And you can start to see, and they can say, like, we'll take Steve Nash Training Facility, which is a local gym here in Vancouver, British Columbia. Um, I
Yeah.
mean, they're almost on the brink of bankruptcy. They're restructuring right now. And I think what happened is, I always say, I think COVID-19 was the best thing to happen to businesses like that, because they could kind of blame it and say, well, look, this is why we're not doing well. What is your
Yeah.
opinion on a lot of the companies now that are going belly up because of this? Do you think it's because of just poor business structure, or do you just think that it's just detrimental to their business?
Well, I think different industries have different margins, right? I mean, restaurant industry. I mean, what a tough industry.
It is.
Margins are tight.
Yeah.
You know, at the time it was difficult even to find staff.
Yeah.
Um, you're selling a product that's perishable. You know, if you keep it for more than a few days or a week, it goes bad. You know, and your customers are very fickle. They can go anywhere. They don't, if they don't like you one day, they're not going to go back to you. They're not dependent on seeing you. So that's one industry where I think, man, do they have it tough. It was already tough before. With the shutdown, even tougher,
Yeah.
right? But I think other businesses that have closed down, like a lot of retail, a lot of big retail, surprisingly, right? It's not just the mom
Yeah.
and pops,
No,
because
JC
I think the
Penney's
mom and
gone.
pops
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
sometimes really savvy.
Yeah.
Yeah, mom and pops are savvy, and mom and pops operated very leanly.
Yeah.
They weren't extravagant. Big businesses sometimes, businesses that seem to be making a lot of money, they spend money very frivolously.
Yeah.
And you're right, this shutdown, what it does is it really amplifies things. I think if you've had good business practices, that's really exemplified.
Yeah.
If you had a poor business practice, that's exemplified too.
Sure.
And so this kind of cuts to the chase. And if you were operating well and you were operating ethically, treated your team well, you're going to come out of this no problem. Depending on the industry, as I said.
Right.
For others, if you have poor business practices, it's just really amplified. And I think you're right. Some businesses, this is a very convenient excuse to
Yeah.
say, you know what? Oh, this virus shut us down. I'm sorry. 1,000 employees.
Yeah.
This virus did us in. I'm
That's right.
going, well, I don't know. I think it may have been your business practices prior to the virus. This is just very convenient.
Yeah. Well, on that note, before I let you go, I want to ask you something. You've
Yeah.
given me plenty of business advice over the years, and it's all been really helpful advice. And I'm not just saying that. You've really helped me over time. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who is a small business owner right now watching this and thinking, okay, we're slowly starting to come out of COVID-19. Hopefully the second wave will not be as bad. What would that be? Like, to restructure? I mean, if you give any advice right now.
Whether it's COVID-19 or not, the best advice I could ever give anyone with a business, and this is what I learned myself, was to really identify why you have your business in the first place. In other words, what's the purpose of your business? And identify that, and then around that, make a mission statement. Like, think long and hard. It's probably one of the hardest things you can ever do. Make a mission statement which really defines why your business is in place. And then it has to be authentic, it has to be real, and it has to be reflective of who you are personally. Because you don't want to, if personally this mission statement of yours is just an act, you're not going to sustain it. But if you truly believe in it, you're gonna follow it. And that business statement, as I said, becomes your lighthouse. So when your ship, your business is in a storm, as it is now, and it's lost its way, refer back to that mission statement. Remember why you started your business.
Yeah.
Remember all the things about why you started your business. And then you just reverse engineer. So you start with your mission statement, which is your why. Then you reverse engineer your what and the how, so that you can honor that mission statement. It's pretty simple.
No, that's great advice. It's a great advice. And one of my clients had said to me the other day, he said, use this time right now to reinvent yourself. He said, use it, like you're saying, is work on your business, work on restructuring your company. If you want to start a new business, even now is a good time to do it. I mean, I had another client on my channel a few weeks ago. He said, Nick, at the beginning of every recession, that's when I've actually had the most opportunity. I'm not suggesting that we're going into a recession, but at the same time, I mean, it looks like we might be. So it could be a good time to just restructure and just like take a look back and say, okay, what do I want to do at this time?
I think you're absolutely right. There is no better time if you want to do something different, because everyone's on the same playing field now.
Yeah.
Everyone, no one's ahead. Everyone
No.
starting line is the same for everybody now.
Yeah. It's like a reset.
But then you can also say there's no excuse. You can't look back a year from now and go, well, I couldn't do it because of this excuse or reason. No.
Yeah.
This is the time to do it. But as I said, don't just haphazardly start something or go off in a new direction. Yeah. Make sure you have some sort of structure, and that's that mission statement. That's probably the most important thing. I keep going back to that, because without that, it's just a shotgun approach. Hopefully you're doing the right thing, but with the mission statement and you honor it, you're guaranteed of doing the right thing.
Yeah. Calvin, I know you're not big on social media. You've never needed to be. I've never relied on social media either myself. I think I told you that I was just using this as a way to connect with people and just to get off, learn some things about other people and their professions. I mean, I know a lot about you, but if someone's looking to get in contact with you for a dentist or just for cosmetic dentistry, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Sure. I mean, check out my website, right? It's smilecitysquare.com. Check it out. All my contact information is on there. My philosophy, my mission statement's on there, so you can read a little bit more about that. And if you feel like there's a connection there, get in touch with me. If you have any questions, as I
Yeah.
said, I'm doing it because I really love people.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I have people call me up for second opinions, or they just want to talk about something. I'm all ears. Just get in touch with me. I'd love to. If I have a chance to enrich someone's life, then that person has given me a chance to honor my mission. So I thank them for asking me questions.
That's a sign of someone who truly does love what they do for a living.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
Calvin, yeah. Thank you so much for spending this time with me.
You're welcome.
It's always a pleasure talking with you.
Nice. Yeah. Nice chatting with you, and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you so much. And, I really appreciate it because I contacted you earlier this week and I said, hey, Calvin, how would you mind coming on my channel? And you're like, I don't do social media, but yeah, okay. Like, you didn't really give it a second thought. You're like, yeah, why not? Because it's so easy, conversing with you. And I said, well, all we're doing is recording it now so other people can watch us talk like we normally do. So
it's easy to talk about things that you are truly passionate about.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel bad because I like picking your brain about business and I always learn something new when I talk to you. So I feel like I should be paying you something for this.
Hey, no way. You have paid me because you're inspiring. As I said, when you started your business, you're a young guy and you broke away from the stereotype of here's a trainer who's starting up their business. You ran it as a business and you were always very authentic, very passionate, and you ran your business as you do now with a lot of integrity.
Thank you.
And that's what's going to carry you through. It's all these hallmarks. It's all the things your grandmother told you should have.
Yeah. You're right.
Listen to Grandma. She's right.
Yeah, she's right. You're right too. I want to thank you again.
No problem.
Tell Sasha and Aline I say hi.
I will.
And have a great weekend. So just to confirm, you guys are opening mid-June?
Yeah, early mid.
Yeah, you don't have a set date, but mid-June. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to put all Calvin's contact information in the link to this video. So again, contact with him, website, and mid-June. That's when he reopens. Thanks so much, Calvin.
Cheers. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Yep.
Bye.